for all kinds of misapprehensions. Right? So therefore he says, I place the seed. I means Brahman. Therefore the seed is an inherent part of Brahman. When you see a rope lying on the ground and you don't see the rope for the rope, the ignorance of the rope is the seed, the cause of various misapprehensions. The misapprehension may be that it is a snake, it's a crack in the earth, various misapprehensions. So what is the seed? Suppose you mistake a rope for a snake. What is the cause of the snake? Not the rope. Because if the rope were the cause of the snake, then everyone would be seeing a snake there, where there is a rope. That doesn't happen. You see the snake, your neighbor doesn't see the snake, the neighbor sees the rope. So what is the cause of the snake? Ignorance of the rope. And ignorance of the rope is inherent in the rope. If, in other words, if the rope weren't there, there would be no ignorance of the rope. Okay? So therefore, he puts it poetically and says, I place the seed. My womb is the great Brahma. Womb, subtle body, the mind and intellect. So when there is ignorance of the truth, ignorance of Brahman, this ignorance placed in the mind and intellect, when the mind and intellect are ignorant of Brahman, what happens? There is birth of all beings. So what he is saying here is, in fact, the world is a creation of your own mind. All beings arise from that one Brahman, one seed, which is non-apprehension of Brahman, ignorance of Brahman. But that one seed, ignorance of Brahman, placed in different minds, creates a different world. You don't believe me? In this same city of Mumbai, there are different worlds. There is a stockbroker world, there is a financial world, there is a cultural world, there is a dancer's world. Yesterday I met someone who's dancing. Dancing means not dancing to somebody else's tune, classical dance. And in her mind, the whole of Bombay was just dance. There's a musical world, there is a smuggler's world, there are all kinds of worlds. So which world you find yourself in? And not only that, not only do you project a world, but then you mix with like-minded people. So if you are a musician, you then mix around with only musicians. If you are a stockbroker, you mix around with stockbrokers. So the next time you go out, at least don't, when you meet a philosopher, don't complain about the world that you are in, because that's a straight giveaway. You complain, this is a terrible world, this world is full of crooks and cheats. What are you saying? The other person, if he's a philosopher, will immediately understand that's the nature of your mind. And therefore you see such people. So, even though he's giving a theory of creation which on the face of it seems absurd, in and through that he's giving a very deep philosophy, and that philosophy is that the world is a projection of your own mind. And then he continues in verse 4 to say that, O Kaunteya, great Brahma is the womb, and I the seed-giving father of the forms born in all wombs. So what he's saying is, forms are myriad, forms are many. The seed is the same, non-apprehension, ignorance. So the many forms that you see depend on the quality of the equipments that you carry. And then an interesting thing, in verse 3, he refers to Arjuna, he addresses Arjuna as Bharata. That's an intellectual appeal. This is your tradition. Your Indianness springs from this invaluable culture. Get back to it. Establish yourself in it. Anchor yourself in it, and you'll be fine. In the 4th verse, he addresses Arjuna as Kaunteya. O Kaunteya, this is a soft appeal. This is an emotional appeal. You are the son of Kunti, Arjuna, and therefore I love you dearly. this combination of intellectual and emotional appeal, the dual approach, serves to inspire Arjuna. How do we know that? Because he continues. Verse 5.
Sattvam rajastama iti guna prakriti sambhavaha nibadhnanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam.
Embodied means Atman. That which takes on a body is Atman. Avyayam dehinam, imperishable, undecaying Atman, which is you, which is me. Our body will decay. The mind changes. The equality of the intellect changes. But Atman, which supports the three, never decays. Avyayam, never perishes. So, sattva, rajas, tamas, the three qualities are born of Prakriti. Prakriti means vasanas. So, when you don't understand Brahman as Brahman, the ignorance of Brahman exists in three textures, sattva, rajas, tamas. And then they manifest in your intellect, in the mind, in the body. Every aspect of your life is pervaded by these three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. So, sattva is purity, rajas, activity, tamas, inertia. Each one of them has a place in life, and later he says, if you view them objectively, you're okay. If you're unconscious of the functioning of sattva, rajas, tamas, then you get caught up, then you get bound, then you get imprisoned by the functionings of the three gunas. But the moment you become aware, and this is what he's trying to do in the 14th chapter, you become aware of how these gunas are functioning in your personality, what effects they have in you, what is the outcome of the three gunas. The moment you become aware, then the process of liberation starts. So, you are not born of sattva, rajas, tamas. Sattva, rajas, tamas is just a clothing, an add-on. Your real nature is Atman. So, what he's saying here is, Atman is indestructible even though it appears embodied. How is it so? The immortal example of a magnet, a horseshoe magnet. The magnet has influence, affects a piece of iron. So, the moment you bring a piece of iron anywhere near that horseshoe magnet, what happens? It attracts, it influences, it affects. This you can't help. This is the nature of the magnet, this is the nature of the iron piece. Take away the iron piece and bring a piece of wood to the magnet, what happens? Any number of times you make contact with it, nothing happens. The horseshoe magnet does not have the power to influence the wood. But this wood that is unaffected by the magnet, you tie it to the iron piece and bring the combination to the magnet, what happens? It is attracted, it is affected, it is influenced by the magnet. But even when the combination is influenced by the magnet, you and I know that the wooden piece in the combination is immaculate, it is unaffected. It appears to be affected because of its bondage with the iron piece. Right? Now, similarly, you and I are like this combination of the iron and the wooden piece. The iron in us is the body, mind and intellect, matter, which will be affected by matter, which is the magnet of the world. The world is a powerful magnet that attracts, influences, affects body, mind, intellect. Body, mind, intellect are matter. But you and I are not just body, mind and intellect. We are a combination of body, mind, intellect and Atman. When the world affects the body, mind and intellect, we appear to be affected. But the reality is, that the world does not have the power to influence Atman. Atman is too subtle to be influenced by the world. And yet, we feel affected. Now it's summer, so when it's hot outside, particularly with the power cuts, we go crazy. When people think well of us, speak well of us, we feel good. When they speak ill of us, we feel bad, the mind feels bad. But even when the body is affected by heat and cold, the mind is affected by joy and sorrow, the intellect is affected by honor and dishonor, Atman, your real self, is completely, totally unaffected. Avyayam dehinam. Beautiful concept. Dehinam, it has, see, look at the terminology he uses. In one word, he gets the message across. Had he said Brahman, Atman, the message wouldn't have got across. He says Dehinam, that which has taken on a body, taken on the body of the three, physical, emotional and intellectual body, is Avyayam. Now, as you are affected, if all you have to do is bring yourself back, pull your focus back to Atman, you will be unaffected. Simple formula. It may appear difficult in the beginning, but keep at it. If you have to go to a lab for a blood test, as the needle is piercing your artery, tell yourself, I am not the body, I am Atman. It helps. It's not that you don't feel the pain, but at least you don't sit there crying over it. When you feel pleasure and pain, when the mind feels pleasure and pain, stop yourself and say, I am not the mind, I am Atman. There will be relief. Otherwise, you go completely under. Guna. Guna is a quality. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas are called gunas. It has no English equivalent. English language is not rich enough to accommodate all these terms. But under the influence of these gunas, every thought that crosses our mind, every emotion that goes through our being, every action, every perception, everything we do, our gestures, our reactions, our responses, everything is determined by these three gunas. So you better know what these three gunas are and how they function. That's the theme. Another meaning of guna is rope, that which binds you. Apparently, they seem to bind you, but the reality is they don't bind. Why? Because Atman is spirit, gunas are matter. Matter can never bind spirit. Next verse.
Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakamanāmayam sukha sangena badhnāti jnana sangena chanagha.
Being pure, sattva is illuminating and curative. It binds by attachment to happiness and attachment to knowledge. Now, in this verse, he speaks of sattva. In the 7th verse, rajas. 8th verse, tamas. So, first of all, he addresses Arjuna and all of us, remember that, as anagha. Anagha means sinless one, means one without vasanas, one without gunas. How does he address us as one without gunas? When we are suffering from the gunas, when we are carrying these gunas. The focus, where is your focus? If your focus is on matter, you will see gunas. You will see faults, you will see tamas, you will see rajas, you will see all kinds of things. But in and through the three gunas, if you x-ray through and see Atman, you will view the person as anagha, sinless one. Because Atman can never be stained by the gunas. It's a fabulous terminology, and you learn so much from that one term, anagha. If only in your perception of people you don't see the trash and the garbage that all of us carry. You see through to this brilliance of the spirit, the Atman that is pulsating in every one of us. Then your contact with even the most despicable person will be enlightening. The way we are, even if you meet a sattvic individual, even if you meet a man of realization, you will come back and say, oh, but why is he doing this? That's why when, even with reference to Christ, somebody said, there was, in his lifetime, said, oh, but isn't he just the carpenter's son? That's one way of looking at Christ. In the lifetime of Socrates, who came out with such fabulous philosophy, they thought that he was spoiling the minds of the young people, and they poisoned him and put him to death. If only they had the knowledge of the Gita, Anagha. Don't go around calling everybody Anagha tomorrow. They'll ask you, where did you learn all this? But Anagha, it's where your focus is that matters. Then he says, the nature of sattva is nirmala. Nirmala, no dirt. See, he addresses Arjuna as Anagha, means one without dirt. And he says, sattva is without dirt, no vasanas. Next, prakashakam, luminous, brilliant, illuminating. Third, anamayam, healthy, curative at all levels of the personality. And then he says, it binds, sattva also binds, but it binds by attachment to happiness and attachment to knowledge. We'll come to that later. But nirmala, no vasanas. See, when you have no vasanas, you can recognize Atmanara. You know the story of the young boy Gopal, who was, his mother was a widow, and the mother didn't have enough money to put him in regular school. So she had to put him in a school that was far away, and he had to go through a dense forest to get to that school. This young little boy went back to his mother and said, I don't want to go to school. So she said, why? Because I have to walk through the forest and I get scared of animals, wild animals. They weren't like our forests now where there are no tigers. So the mother said, don't worry, whenever you're going through the forest, if you feel scared, think of Krishna and call out to Krishna, he'll come. Innocent that he was, nirmala, no vasanas, pure that he was, sattvic that he was. He believed his mother implicitly. And the next time when he went through the forest and he felt scared, he called out to Krishna. Krishna came and both the boys played, had fun right through the journey through the forest, and he went to school. On his way back, again he would call out to Krishna and they'd play. And life became so entertaining, so pleasant for him. The same frightening experience became very, very pleasant. Now Guru Purnima came. Guru Purnima is a day when the student is supposed to give a gift of appreciation, a gift of love. But nowadays, and then also, some gurus are materialistic. So they sat there, not him, the guru wasn't like that, his wife. His wife was sitting there calculating how much, what is that? Yeah, the value of the gifts that was coming. Now this little boy, he had nothing to give. So he went and asked his mother, he said, tomorrow is Guru Purnima, what do I do? What do I give? So she was also pure. She said, don't worry, you call out to Krishna, Krishna will give you a solution. And he went and asked Krishna, today is Guru Purnima, I need to give something to my Guru, what do I give? So he said, don't worry, and he gave him a little katori of milk. He was thrilled, he got something to give to his Guru. He went and placed it there, prostrated to the Guru, placed it before him. The Guru was preoccupied. The wife looked at it with contempt and emptied it out. Suddenly she said, it's full again. So she thought maybe she forgot to empty it out. Emptied again full. Then she realized, my God, this boy is worth his weight in gold. So she went and told the husband, find out where he got this from so we can get more. The Guru asked him, he said, who gave you this? He said, Krishna, my friend. Your friend? Krishna? The Guru couldn't believe, because he had been trying for years to get somewhere near Krishna, and this little boy comes and says, my friend Krishna gave it. Will you take me to him? He says, sure, come. Went to the forest. He called out to Krishna. Krishna came. They talked to each other, and He's trying to introduce his guru to Krishna. And he tells Krishna, my guru wants to meet you and all that. But the guru does not see Krishna. This is it. Nirmala, when your mind is pure, you see things which elude others. Second, prakashakam, luminous. You're brilliant. Just at the opportune moment when the chips are down, you think of a brilliant strategy that gets you out of trouble. Like in the Merchant of Venice, Portia. You know Merchant of Venice, Shylock had placed this deadly thing, that condition, that if you are unable to pay my loan, I will take a pound of flesh. I'll actually cut out a pound of flesh from you. So Portia, brilliant, sattvic, decided to go and represent him as a lawyer. And in those days, women were not allowed to become lawyers, so she dressed up as a man and went to and represented. And she said, his condition was 1 pound of flesh. So therefore he can take 1 pound of flesh, not 1 gram less, not 1 gram more. Not 1 ounce less, not 1 ounce more. That was the end of Shylock. So prakashakam, brilliant, luminous. You think of the right solution at the right time. We said in the beginning that the Bhagavad Gita is about achieving excellence in life, and you can achieve excellence only in sattva, luminous. And third, anamayam, curative. You not only help yourself, but you help society. You help rid society of all kinds of ills. One sattvic individual is enough. The tragedy is in a population of 1 billion, we can't find one sattvic individual to lead us out of our ills. That's the problem. And who is that one sattvic individual going to be? Each one of us must tell ourselves, me. You get sattvic, you then help people around you become fit. So this curative, healthy, anamayam is at every level of your body. Your body remains fit, in the pink of health. The mind is pure, you see purity everywhere. The intellect has clarity of thinking. What else do you need? So, but then the next thing is, it binds. Sattva, even though it is pure, luminous and curative, it binds. It binds how? Sukha sangena, jnana sangena badnati. What is this bondage? You see, before, when we are operating at the realm of rajas and tamas, and then suddenly you experience this sattvic state of being, it is so exhilarating, it is so entertaining, it is so happy that you tend to get attached to it. The nature of the mind is to get attached to whatever you come across. Compared to tamas and rajas, sattva is very, very illuminating, it is nirmala, it's pure, it is anamayam, it's healthy. So you get attached. And when you get attached to sattva, you lose sight of the fact that your goal is not to get attached to sattva, your goal is to transcend sattva. That's the tragedy. So sukha sangena, jnana sangena, knowledge also. Knowledge of the self is so elevating that you tend to get attached to it. You say, oh, Ishavasya Upanishad says this, and Kenopanishad says this, and the 18th chapter of the Gita says this. You remain there. You don't understand that these are means to the end. The end is beyond all this. That's why in the Ishavasya Upanishad, mantras 9 and 12, I think they are. 9 says, Andham tama pravishanti ye vidyam upasate. Means, those who worship avidya. Worship avidya means what? Worship the world. Avidya is the world. They are in andham tamaha, blinding darkness. Then he says, tato bhuya ivate tamo yau vidyaya gurataha. But those who revel in vidya are in greater darkness. That's what he's saying. So even though you have to lift yourself to sattva and leverage your sattva to get rid of your rajas and tamas. Don't get attached there. Yes, it is very pleasant. It's very pleasurable. It's very happy to be there. But it's still finite happiness. And what you are heir to is infinite happiness. Right? We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you.